My childhood was really happy, actually. My mum and dad were Irish. My mum was Dublin, my dad was from Cork. He was a merchant seaman, my mum's a nurse. Oh, yeah, I've got 5 brothers and sisters. We had a really good, really lovely childhood and growing up. We lived on a big council estate, didn't have much money. A bit of a mad family. One of my nans came for the weekend and stayed for 11 years.
Where did you go to school, and were you academic? Did you enjoy it?
Actually, to be honest with you, I hated school. I loved the infants and the juniors, but I hated the seniors. I was expelled from a convent. I used to go to the library and just pull out library books. I used to lie over the park and read all day.
Who is your role model?
I think for me, my role model would probably be in Marilyn Monroe or someone iconic, called Betty Boo. I've got a tattoo of Betty Boo on my shoulder.
Oh, wow.
And I've always been a big Betty girl. I mean, she was funny, sassy, sexy, and...
yeah.
You know, she lived her own life. And I think really for me it will always be sort of role models like that, be powerful women, you know. I mean, Marilyn Monroe is such a tragic figure, I think. I think as beautiful as she was, many women weren't jealous of her because you could feel the vulnerability of her.
Yeah.
My big one was always sort of Liz Taylor. I absolutely adored Liz Taylor and Betty Davis. Betty Davis has got to be my all-time role model. That when they'd banned smoking on the television studios, but they let her smoke through when she was being interviewed. Otherwise she couldn't do the interview.
Wow.
And I thought, now that is power.
Do you read books of other authors?
Oh, yes, I read average 2 to 4 books a week, even when I'm writing my own book. I read everybody and anybody. I mean, at the moment, I'm hooked on Maurice Drouin's series about from Louis X onward. It starts with the young King Louis's father and goes right the way through the card. Yeah. And he sort of writes, and it's, you know, like Jim Pradey used to years ago, you're getting the historical facts. It's written like as a novel.
Yeah. And
he's done a fantastic job. And they've been out of print for quite a while, so just coming back into print.
Yeah.
But I also read horror. I love horror books. I love any kind of crime book. I love crime. I mean, crime's got so naff now, hasn't it? It's always a bald-headed man in a white van.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to go back to days where they drove beautiful, great big cars.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's why my books, people love my books, because I write about people who still hold that old criminal code.
Yeah.
You know, you loved your mum and looked after your family. And I think that's what women love so much about my male characters. The whole of the Eastenders changed. I think people don't realise that. The Eastenders changed so much. When I write my books, my Eastenders are really old East End.
Yeah.
And a lot of saga books all set around Jamaica Road and, you know, places like that. And, you know, those places have been gone for a long, long time. I mean, you know, the 60s, it was a different place, London. I mean, when I was a kid, we'd be walking back. You still had bomb sites all over the place and things like that, you know.
How do your new books evolve?
What, this particular book? Well, it just did. I created the character, Michael, and it just evolved from there, really. And his daughter and his wife. I just created those. Then, you know, I built the story around them. And I thought, what would be the worst thing that could happen to a man like this? And, of course, it would be someone, you know, someone coming back at him for something he doesn't know why. And it's something he can't control. He has to control everything. Something that he does, and when he's very, very young, that he never thought about again, comes back 30 years later and bites him on the behind.
Yeah.
You know, and by then he's a really powerful, successful man.
When did you decide you wanted to become an author, and did you always want to write about gangsters and crime and murder?
When I was a kid, I've just read and read and read. I just read so much. I love books. I've always loved books. And I used to lay in bed, imagine I was like, you know, right. I remember watching a documentary years ago on Joan Collins, and I was only about 15, 16. She had a walking wardrobe, and I thought, oh, that's it, I've got to be an author. But I never ever thought I would be.
So how did that transpire then?
The Writer's Artist Yearbook, and I looked for it, and I found this name, Darley Anderson, for an agent, and I thought, oh, that sounds like a woman, you know. And I rang up, and he was a man, and he sounded like Wilfred Hyde White. I said, oh, hello, and I'm going, oh, hello, Thunder Pop.
Yeah.
And I told him I'd written the book, and I didn't know what to do with it. I was only 10 years previously. And he said, well, tell me about it. And I explained, you know, about Moraline and her brothers and everything. And he said, oh, well, women don't write books like that, but send it to me, I'm intrigued. So I sent it on a Thursday. I just caught the post, and on the Monday he rang up, and this is honest to God, he went, Martina Carl, and I went, oh, hello. He went, you are going to be a star. Of course, we made the television series for ITV, and then the second book, I've sold the first book, and it's because, anyone, get a book published, one book, but it's whether or not you can get the second one, and 20 books on. I mean, I'm so lucky. I'm on my 21st book now.
Wow.
Last Thursday, I was inducted into the Crime Writers Hall of Fame.
I saw that. That's
so fabulous to meet Wilbur Smith. I mean, I get to do lots of things I'd never normally be doing.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
And I think that's the big perks of the job.
When doing research, do you contact any notorious gangsters?
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, everybody knows that I've got a really great network of people who help me with the books. And I've done the forward for Eddie Richardson's book, The Last Word.
Yeah.
So I'll ring Eddie up and we'll go to lunch and he'll say to me, no, this is where you bought your suits, get your suits made. This is where we would have drunk. This is the cars we would have drove. This was the music of the time. And I mean, for me, that's all invaluable because it gives me so much realism.
Ever felt vulnerable, though, talking to these people?
Never in my life, no. Never felt vulnerable at all. No, not even when you feel that, like I've Bill Must and all sorts. Never once felt vulnerable, no. I go in there to do a creative writing class or whatever. I've never talked to them, I never asked them. They never discussed what they're in there for, and I don't care what they're in there for.
How do you feel when you've finished a book?
Such a great feeling. I finally typed the end, and I do type the end to stop myself changing it. But no, it's such a wonderful feeling. And I normally pour out a very large whiskey, and I sit back and I think, oh, it's done, and then I stop myself from interfering with it anymore. And keep going back and, reading over it, because I write the book 3 times in all.
Wow.
And then I get into my bed and I sleep for about 10 hours. I wake up and then for a couple of days I'm like, oh, God, yeah, I've done my book, the book's out of the way. Then after about 3 days I think, oh, no, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Because, it's hard because you live with these people for so long. They become like part of your family.
Yeah, yeah.
You live, you dress them, you give them cars to drive and lives to live, you give them family.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they're gone.
You've had a good few books out. You've had some televised. Do you have control over the actors and the crew?
Yeah, we have everything. It's wonderful. We script edit. That's really nice. And we were so lucky to get Tom Hardy. Tom was exactly how I'd pictured Freddie Jackson myself. So it was quite surreal seeing him come to life on the screen. I mean, Kirsten Waring as well was in both the series, Become very, very good friends.
Yeah.
They wasted her in EastEnders.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Absolutely. Amazing actors and actresses.
A lot of the stuff Kirsten's in, you don't realise it's her.
No.
She's a chameleon.
I know you've received your Crime Writers Award.
Yeah.
Are there any other achievements in life that you're proud of? I
think, like most women, I'm most proud of my children and my grandchildren. I think also one of my greatest achievements for me was when I could, because I've always liked cars. I love prestige cars, and I always wanted a Bentley.
Yeah.
And I drive a cool Bentley. And my daughter says that the greatest day of her life was when we went for McDonald's drive-thru in a Bentley one night. One of my teachers said to me many years ago, you'll never amount to nothing, Martina. And I sent him a signed book.
So what does the future hold for Martina Cole?
Well, I'm writing another book. We've got a film. We're halfway through and into pre-production with a new film of Lady Killer. We've got a new series coming on TV.
Oh, brilliant.
It's quite a lot going on, actually.
Yeah.
I think the main thing the future's holding for me is I want to get away and have a nice rest for New Year. Before it all kicks up again in January.
Yeah.
I think that's really all I want. I think the greatest thing you can have is your health, your happiness.
Yeah.
Daniel Loughlin used to say, don't get to a stage in your life where you regret the things you've never done.